Hey everybody, it's Dan from the Rock Nerd Radio Show. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is kind of an interesting one. It's a video that I've been wanting to shoot for some time. I just didn't know how I was going to do it, under what kind of format, if I was going to do 5 minutes or less, which is better. And I've just decided on just doing a video. So it might be a little bit of a longer one. We are going to take a look at something that when I bought, I kind of started getting some buyer's regret. Not for all of it, just for part of it. We're going to take a look at the Transformers Buzzworthy Bumblebee Troop Builder 4-pack that is an exclusive to Target. So let's dive into it right now.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
Alright, so I'm going to start this look off with the troop builder that I think I was the least interested in, and that would be the Alicon. So, this is pretty much just a repaint of what we got during the Earthrise run. The differences here is that he does have two alternate heads, we'll talk about that, and these weapons. The original Alicon came with a spear, and they also have this tail piece that can kind of pull out to be like a dagger. You just kind of give it a little yank. There you go. And of course it does fit nicely back in the tail. But yeah, there's not a whole lot, I'll put that back in later, but there's not a whole lot of differences. The weapons that you see originally came with the Alicon that was exclusive to the Pit of Judgment. Was it a San Diego Comic-Con, a Summer Con exclusive, whatever it was that Hasbro put out? That figure was done up in a different color. This is actually kind of close to what we got during Earthrise, some color differences, but kind of the one that when I saw in the package, I was like, I don't need yet another one of these. But let's transform him. We're going to take him from this and put him into this. This is his robot mode. Now, as I said, the biggest difference, aside from some color ways, is this head. Now, this head did come with the Alicon that was in the Pit of Judgment set. You can combine the weapons. They do easily just kind of tab together to make like one big staff, or you could have him holding two weapons if you want. It is entirely up to you. The dagger tail is still back there as well. Transformation, still simple, still easy. If you've handled an Alicon, you know what you are getting. I think the only other thing is that the shoulder pauldrons on this, I'm just now realizing, are significantly larger than the Earthrise Alicon. Again, this is more of a repaint of that special one that came in that Pit of Judgment set that had the bigger shoulder spikes on it. Now, of course, there is this head, which was originally used in that Pit of Judgment set. It does have this head as well, which is the same as that Earthrise one. So if you wanted to, you could kind of have like a command Alicon with this head, or with this and like the larger shoulder spikes. It's really going to depend on what you have currently going on in your display. I have, I want to say, 5 or 6 Alicons in my display already. I wasn't really jonesing to add more. I got them, I'll add them, that's fine. But yeah, this was kind of probably the most boring one for me. So we're going to skip from him to one that I don't know what to talk about with. And that would be this Auto Trooper. The Auto Troopers, I believe, originated in Transformers Animated, and maybe in like Kiss Players, I think they were as well. This is a neat one. It's a repaint of that Siege Ironhide and Ratchet mold. The blues on it stand out, that teal kind of color on it, as well as the windshield. So you see it on what will eventually be the shoulders and the windshield. It does stand out, even on the rocket launcher here, it looks neat, and also on the headlights. But this is a character, you've probably heard me say how I try to just stick to like G1 and G2 type stuff. I make some exceptions here and there, as you can clearly see an animated Megatron in the background behind me. But yeah, this was a troop builder that I didn't really, I wasn't super sure or into. This is one that I'm not really sure what shelf I'm going to put it on my display. But again, let's transform him. We're going to take him looking like this to looking like this. And the head that he has on is the more animation-inspired head. Of course, this rocket launcher can be used as like a hammer, or you could make it some kind of blaster, depending how you want him to hold it. I'm going to have him holding it like this for now. But yeah, just kind of a repaint of that Ironhide Ratchet mold. The thing about this, I haven't picked up and actually played with the mold in a little while. This version feels almost cheap. The plastic feels very light, and Maybe it's just because I haven't picked up the Ironhide or Ratchet in a bit that I'm kind of forgetting what it feels like. Maybe this is normal to how it feels. But, yeah, you know, just kind of like it looks fine. I'm not someone who's necessarily, you know, playing with my action figures here. I'll probably get them, pose them up on a shelf, and that'll be it. But there is another head option here. So this is the animated head, and this would be the second head, which is inspired by KISS players, I want to say. And in most of these cases, I think the head, you can just kind of pull it off the joint. Like I'm so afraid that I'm going to break these ball joints because they seem a little weak, and you can just kind of put the new head back on. Oh, you know what? In this one, I apologize. In this one, you actually have to slide the ball joint part out, and then you can slide the face on. So you actually don't have to pop it off the ball joint. So what I just did is not the way to do it. Hang on, there we go. So yeah, you can put that head on it. It gives you options. You can have different troops, I suppose, and I guess the right way to do it would just be to slide this head off. As you can tell, it's not the easiest thing. Maybe you're better popping off the ball joint. Hang on, I'm going to do this off camera. All right, so that was about 30 seconds of me wrestling with the head to get the original one back on here, or the animated one back on here. Yeah, just be prepared for that. The head swap is kind of rough. One thing I do want to point out before I move on to the next figure, it does have that really cool, like, Elite Guard Autobot symbol on it. So even though I'm trying to stick to G1, this might be something that I stick on, like, my kind of multiversal Autobot shelf, or maybe I'll stick it next to, like, the Guardian robot or something, because they are cool. You know, it wasn't something I felt I needed, and if it wasn't part of a multi-pack, I probably wouldn't have bought. But, you know, it's not bad. Let's move on to our next one. And coming in hot, we have the Decepticon Seeker Jet. And, you know, these things are like, remember that dress that people couldn't tell if it was like black and blue or white and black or whatever? I feel like that's what's going on with these Seekers, because in my hand, as I'm looking at it, it looks like a very light blue. But on my camera, it's coming off a little purpley. This was the biggest draw to the set for me. I wanted to have the generic Seekers like the G1 cartoon had in the background of a lot of the first couple episodes of Season 1. So this was the draw, and if this was just a little bit more purple, like, I'm having a weird time explaining it. This was a set, or a figure, yeah, the whole set. I had on pre-order, canceled, and then pre-ordered again. Because I kept going back and forth on how much I really wanted it. Specifically for this, the set, I should mention, runs about $78. That's not a bad price for 3 deluxes and a Voyager figure. Granted, they're all repaints, but it is a pretty cool set. So this was the biggest draw for me initially. I still feel like the color isn't quite right, but I think it'll serve well just kind of standing behind Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp on my G1 Season 1 villain shelf. So it looks pretty neat. Let's get him transformed. He's going to go from this wonderful plane that you were probably used to this very nice robot mode. And I'm just going to tilt my camera up just a smidge real quick. There we go. So we can get him in frame. And yeah, this Seeker looks really cool. It's the Earthrise mold. So if you've had Starscream or Thundercracker or Skywarp, you know what you're getting. It is still pretty neat. As I said, the colors don't seem to be perfect, like a perfect match from what we got from the cartoon with the generic Seekers, but it has all the articulation, everything you want. Oddly enough, being the largest scale figure in here, the only one that doesn't have any type of alternate head or extra accessories. Pretty much what you got with any Seeker Jet is what you're getting with this one. So looks cool, looks fun. This was the biggest draw for me, even though I canceled and pre-ordered again a bunch of times because I wasn't really sure on his color. So, you know, again, not bad, but not my favorite. All right, let's get into the final figure of this set. And the final figure of this set is the G2 Shock Trooper, or Stormtrooper, whatever they're calling it, which is based on the Skullgrin mold from the Legacy, was it Year 1 Legacy Skullgrin? Looks very neat. These were Jahaxis's troops in the G2 comic, and they do pretty faithfully recreate their look. There are a number of alternate head displays and weapon arrangements that you can use for these. It looks cool. It looks like a futuristic kind of tank. Originally, this was probably the other one that I was most hyped for, but then I was like, oh, I don't know if I need these G2 shock troopers, but then I kind of convinced myself that I did. So I do like how this vehicle mode looks. You do have this tank turret up top, which can rotate and move, and of course mine now doesn't want to rotate, but depending how you move the guns. So it is a cool futuristic looking tank, but we're going to transform the tank to get it from this to this, and this is a very cool design. Now, I always felt that the Skullgrin mold had some limitations, namely in the arms, because of the way things are molded, but for some reason this seems to work just fine with this one. There's nothing about it that I'm really kind of disliking, as it were. I kind of like him a lot. I feel like the legs move, very well. Overall, it is a pretty cool looking figure, and yeah, it has these gun options you can do a lot with. These are still kind of that flimsy plastic that the Skullgrin had when it came out, but you can put them on top of the cannons to make like bayonets if you want. You can use the back piece to put store stuff in the back. You can put stuff on the shoulders. There are a lot of plug and play options. This one is another one that comes with a different head option. So rather than this white head, you could also have this green head, which were all used in the comics. And much like the Auto Trooper, there is something that you can slide it off here. So I'm going to attempt it on camera. Of course, it doesn't want to do it now. And there we go. I got the other head on. So the other head does look very, very cool. And overall, I kind of like it. I think this one ended up being my favorite figure in the set. It is a neat colorway. It'll look cool on my G2 shelf, which is actually filling up quite quickly for my Decepticons. But really neat figure in the set overall, and something that I am happy I grabbed. All right, so here we have the set in full. And I gotta say, overall, I'm not sure how I feel about this set. As a set, I guess it's fine. I don't know if I really needed everybody. I'll admit I did buy 2 of them, so I can have 2 of everybody you see in front of you. The Alicon, probably my least favorite one, followed by the Auto Trooper, Seeker, and then the G2 Shock Trooper. Really, that's the order it goes in, and a lot of it is because of attachment to the character. Nothing against the Auto Trooper, I just have no attachment to him. And this, I feel like I've already owned this mold many, many times. Whereas the Seeker, I kind of wanted to look like that. And the G2 Trooper does look very cool, even if I'm running out of space on my G2 shelf. Just some couple quick final thoughts. This is obviously skewed more towards the Decepticons. Or evil forces, as it were, because, technically Quintesson forces and Jahax's forces. But I think it would have been interesting if instead of this guy, we got something that we haven't had before. Like, maybe if you took the Sideswipe mold and made it like a Viacon from Prime or something, maybe that would have been cool. I feel like there's got to be more generic Autobot troops that we could have put out, maybe. So maybe we had 2 Autobots, 2 Decepticon type troops in here. I think that would have been cool too. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. So there we have it. An interesting 4-pack. Some good, more kind of nothing really bad, but something I truly don't know what I'm going to do with. So let me know, hey, did you get this 4-pack, or did you maybe just want one of the characters or troops in it as opposed to all of it? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, hey, I've been Dan. You've been pretty awesome. I'll see you around.
Come get